There's a big problem happening in New York City right now. Laws that treat housing as a basic human right are running straight into a harsh economic reality, and the fallout could be really serious. All over the city, tens of thousands of apartments are sitting empty.
Why?
Because the government has capped the rent landlords can charge for these regulated apartments. In many cases, the capped rent is now less than it costs just to pay the bills for the unit. Things like heat, insurance, and maintenance, let alone fix it up. Let's look at just one example in the Bronx. It's a 3-bedroom in a good neighborhood, close to subways and buses. It could easily house a family. The basic monthly costs to run it are about $1,200.
But it also needs major repairs, new floors, paint, a kitchen and bathroom that haven't been updated in decades.
Fixing it would cost at least $60,000, probably over $100,000. That investment would make sense if the owner could then rent it for the going market rate, around $3,000 a month. But instead, the city and state have stepped in and said the legal rent can only be $529.
Landlords aren't charities. They can't operate at a huge loss, so the apartment stays vacant.
And that's tragedy, because there are plenty of families who would love to live there and would get more than their money's worth. The same story is repeating everywhere. A simple math problem is leaving apartments empty. This then pushes up rents for other, non-regulated apartments and makes finding any housing harder and more expensive. Things got much worse after 2019. That's when the state passed a new law called the HSDPA.
One key part of it stopped landlords from ever adjusting a rent-regulated apartment to market rate, even after a tenant moved out.
Overnight, the value of many buildings plummeted.
Suddenly, owners found their property was worth less than the mortgage they owed on it.
Faced with that kind of loss, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, the rational choice is to just walk away.
They hand the keys back to the bank.
This leads to foreclosures, and the buildings fall into even worse hands, which doesn't help tenants at all. The situation is spiraling. Repairs are being skipped. Apartments are falling apart. Some landlords are just abandoning their buildings entirely. It's only been 6 years since that 2019 law, and you can already see the city's housing stock getting worse.
Politicians might blame greedy landlords, but they're really just responding to the impossible rules that were created.
There is, thankfully, a straightforward fix. The state needs to change that 2019 law to allow something called vacancy decontrol again. Here's how it would work. When a tenant moves into a rent-stabilized apartment, the rent is protected.
But when they move out, the owner could then adjust the rent to cover the cost of necessary renovations.
This would restore the incentive to fix up and maintain these apartments.
It's the only way to stop New York's housing from literally falling apart.